Raider Nation. I'm about to say something that might sound crazy at first. The Las Vegas Raiders are preparing to take a quarterback with the #1 overall pick, and some NFL analysts are already saying he isn't even the best quarterback in this draft. Let that sink in. And here's the part that should actually make you feel confident instead of nervous. They know. They've heard the criticism. They've studied the tape. They've sat in the same draft rooms, listened to the same doubts, and asked the same hard questions. And they're taking him anyway. That's not a mistake. That's a strategy. Before draft night gets here and the hot takes start flying, you need to understand why this move makes more sense than people realize. But first, one fan to another, subscribe to the channel and drop your take in the comments. Raider Nation doesn't do quiet debates. Let's talk about it. Now, let's start with something nobody can ignore: the trophy case. Fernando Mendoza just completed one of the most decorated seasons in modern college football history. Heisman Trophy, National Championship, 16-0 record, 41 touchdown passes, over 3,500 yards. He became only the third player ever to win the Heisman, capture a national title, and project as the #1 overall pick in the same year. On paper, he's untouchable. But here's where things get complicated. Behind the scenes at the NFL Combine, away from the cameras, away from the highlight reels, a different conversation is happening. Dan Orlovsky, former NFL quarterback and current ESPN analyst, went deep into Mendoza's tape. Not the highlights, not the championship game, the first 8 games of the season. And his words weren't subtle. He said Mendoza's film was significantly less impressive than other top quarterbacks in this class. That's not a minor critique. That's a challenge to the entire narrative. So, what are scouts seeing? The concern is this: Mendoza operated inside a nearly perfect offensive system at Indiana. Elite protection, clean pockets, smart, quarterback-friendly play design, predictable defensive looks. When everything around you is structured and stable, your numbers shine. The real NFL question isn't what you do when everything works. It's what you do when it doesn't. Evaluators point to moments where Mendoza's footwork tightens when his first read disappears. Moments where he looks less comfortable when the play breaks structure. They're asking how that translates to NFL Sundays, when defensive coordinators spend 2 weeks designing ways to erase everything you like. That's a fair concern. But here's where the Raiders enter the picture and flip the narrative. The Raiders know all of this. They've broken down the tape. They've heard Orlovsky. They've debated it internally. And after all that, they're still taking him. That's not ignorance. That's conviction. What the Raiders are doing is something draft season often overlooks. They're drafting a winner, not a traits project, not a combined marvel, not just arm strength and upside. A winner. Think about 16-0. That means in every close game, he didn't fade. In the biggest moments, he elevated. In the national championship, with everything on the line, he didn't blink. Systems don't throw 41 touchdowns. Systems don't win Heismans. Quarterbacks do. And Clint Kubiak's offense isn't asking Mendoza to become someone else. It's asking him to do exactly what he already excels at. Process quickly, get the ball out on time, execute play action, manage protections, and make high-percentage throws that sustain drives. The Raiders aren't drafting a gunslinger. They're drafting a quarterback. And there's a difference. Now, let's talk about Ty Simpson, because his name isn't going anywhere. Simpson has the arm talent, the prototype, the physical upside that makes coaches lean forward in their chairs. His combined stock is rising fast. Teams like the Browns and Steelers are rumored to be circling him as a high-ceiling prospect. And that's real. If Simpson becomes a Pro Bowler somewhere else while Mendoza takes time to adjust, Raider Nation will remember it for a decade. That's the risk. But here's the other side. For years, the Raiders have chased potential, elite traits, big arms, athletic upside, and somewhere between promise and payoff, it's fallen apart. Development stalls. Inconsistency creeps in. Another rebuild starts. Mendoza represents a philosophical shift. He's not potential. He's production. He's not projection. He's proof. He's won everywhere he's played. And when Kubiak walked into that building, he made it clear this franchise is done being comfortable. Done gambling on maybe taking the Heisman winner, the undefeated national champion, the most decorated quarterback of this generation. That's not flashy. That's deliberate. Does it guarantee success? Of course not. This is the NFL. Nothing is guaranteed. There will be moments in year one where the pocket collapses, the first read is gone, and the pressure feels heavier than it ever did in college. Those moments are coming. But the Raiders aren't betting on combine metrics in those moments. They're betting on the guy who stood on the biggest stage in college football with everything at stake and didn't flinch. That trait doesn't show up in a 40-yard dash, but it shows up in January. So here's where I land. The critics aren't wrong to question. The tape concerns are real. Ty Simpson's rise is legitimate. This is a debate worth having. But the Raiders aren't guessing. They evaluated every snap, every workout, every interview. And after all of it, they chose the quarterback who has never lost a game that mattered most. They're not drafting what Fernando Mendoza might become. They're drafting what he already is. A winner. Now I want to hear from you. Do you trust the trophies or the tape? Because this debate isn't over. It's just getting started.